You're listening to For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation.
Hello there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation. We are on... It is officially the aftermath of Star Wars Celebration. It is crazy that it's already come and gone. Unfortunately, none of us were able to be there for the convention itself.
We all just went from FOMO depression to post-celebration depression.
Exactly. It's bad.
Exactly that.
Really bad. But Andrew and Don are here with special guest back again on the pod. First time since Andor. It is Mo. How are you today?
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I didn't even get out of my bed for celebration this morning, and I'm exhausted just from the past 4 days.
It's been a lot. I did the stay up to watch the showcase panel, or watch. I mean,
you pulled an all-nighter.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna fall asleep beforehand, and then that just didn't work. So I was like, all right, I'll set my alarm for 6. It did not happen. I just could not fall asleep. So I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And then I was like, oh, wait, hold on. They're not going to stream it, are they? So then it turned into me just refreshing my Twitter every 5 seconds. Seeing
Twitter,
the news.
Honestly, they get all the news before it's on your screen.
I saw the, it was like, oh, yeah, we're going to be live tweeting. I'm like, let me bookmark these tabs and go from there.
Yeah, Star Wars Explained, Friends of the Force, you know, all bookmarked.
And I was like, that's where it's at.
Can I just say, I loved that Alex was so committed to the big start lighter bit that he had the Black Series figure like constantly there. It was just, I loved it. It was one of my, that's honestly one of my highlights of like just like spending time on Twitter with Star Wars Celebration.
You gotta commit to the bit.
People literally do that. Like I've seen so many of my friends, like they have like their little figure. They're like, which one should I bring today? It's great. I love that.
Well, I've got like one figure I would absolutely do, but they need to bring him out first. I'm sure you could maybe like hazard a guess.
Ewan?
Just
well,
you know, there's the handle that might clue you in a bit. There.
Oh yeah.
Dang, you know what? No, actually, he might be at the next celebration.
He might.
Ahsoka will be out by then.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's in London, or he's in England, isn't he?
I'm honestly amazed he didn't put an appearance in, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I guess we can just start. We'll just talk about everything we loved that came out from Celebration this weekend, and a lot sure did. Friday, Saturday, and Monday were really the big days. Like all we got yesterday was pretty much the Jedi Survivor trailer.
Yeah.
But today,
it was
really great. And like
we're
today,
going to the Imperial Palace. That's so cool.
Sweet.
You know, there's like a shot that legitimately looks like Jedha, and I know I shoehorn Rogue One into everything, but I swear to God, it's Jedha.
I'd love to go to Jeddah. Like more of Jeddah, please. Like you know,
more of Jeddah when it's not occupied by the Imperials.
Yeah,
then
and
it's
then
just
when
like
it has
a
a crater.
That's so cool, you know. Yeah, and when it's not blown to bits as well.
Yeah, exactly. I know today we had Bad Batch, and then we had the Visions trailer, which I just watched before we started, which looks insane. And I think there was like another panel today that I just have not like been able to look for. But spoiler alert, I'll be doing my like mini news recap after we record this. So I'm sure whatever I missed, I'll catch up on after. I've been doing those the last 3 days. It's been really fun. But I think let's just start with the studio showcase, and we can go kind of out of order here.
Gotta start with the showcase.
Absolutely.
Let me just say, I was fairly adamant. I was like, Don, what did I say? I said 99% chance Daisy shows up like about 2 months ago.
That's what you said. That's what you said.
The lunch happened, and we were like, okay, it's got to happen. It has to happen.
Lied through her teeth, dude.
Lied through her teeth. And then like we stopped hearing about it for a couple months. I was like, okay, I'll lower it to like a 70%. And then the Damien Lindelof exited the movie, so I was like, okay, let's bring it down. Maybe they're gonna retool it. And then they were like, okay, we have a Jedi Master that's gonna be in this one.
Yeah,
Charmaine
Obaid Chinoy just like comes on as part of those 3 filmmakers, which of all the ways to announce like to get that they're getting back into Star Wars movies, that's just such a cool way. Like, oh,
it was
we're
such
not
a
just
cool
doing
way.
one. We've got James Mangold, we've got Dave Filoni doing a big budget like movie finale to the Mandoverse, and we've got Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy, who had like a perfect understated introduction for freaking Daisy Ridley. Like when when Rey's theme just blared over the speakers.
Played, I said, I know that's right.
I was like, and then she walked out, and I was like, yes, this is so cool.
I'm
so happy.
Let's just the Return of the Queen.
She is all the Jedi.
I have talked about many times how much the character means to me at the risk of getting death threats from 14-year-olds on TikTok. But I don't fucking care at this point because she's back and
they're suffering right now, dude. Don't even worry about it.
I know. Literally I refreshed and I saw the word Daisy. I started crying immediately. It was one of those moments where like it was a reaction that I didn't even have when they first announced that Ewan was coming back for Obi-Wan. Because that was just more of a euphoric, like, fuck yeah, we're actually getting this. I was so excited. This one, it was like, I just started just full on crying. And I'm so excited for this movie. What I loved about the way they revealed the movies, like you mentioned, Don, is they're exploring all these different timelines. So there's something for literally everyone in a way.
Fantastic,
it's like you want some like weird Force stuff. Here's the Dawn of the Jedi. You really like the Mandalorian. Here is the Mandoverse. You want some post-sequel stuff. Boom. New Jedi Order, Rey coming back.
And there's the Old Republic stuff as well. Like, I just love that they just casually dropped that, we're definitely doing Old Republic stuff again, which, you know, obviously, like, you know, Rian Johnson's trilogy is just, like, a ways off still, you know, because Kathleen Kennedy confirmed that, you know, they still want to do it. He's just really busy. But, like, imagine how hilarious it would be if his trilogy of films wind up being set in the Old Republic.
Love that.
I'd love it as well, but it would just be even funnier.
It was on the timeline, so I mean, it means that they're gonna probably start putting stuff out soon.
Yeah, maybe some references in the Ahsoka show. That's a possibility. But I'm so excited for this new Jedi Order film as well. Like, of all the projects announced, like that's the one that's just really got me because like there's so much potential there. You know, like because you could easily like follow on from like, you know, do a similar thing to the New Republic and say, oh, there's remnants of the First Order that need dealing with. You know, you could bring in villains who didn't get their due. Maybe like, you know, Hux could come back, as I joked about in our prelude thing, you know, modded Hux, just to like scream at people. And then, but you know, Gwendolyn Christie also was at Celebration and she spoke with like such passion.
I adore her.
Like, she's so good.
God,
she's brilliant. And she spoke with such like passion about Phasma that I just would love Phasma to come back and be part of that film. Like, just say that her armor's made of Beskar. Like, that instantly bumps Phasma up like a few notches of awesome.
Like, when she fell through, I was like, I don't care. She's alive. It's fine.
I mean, Palpatine fell down a reactor that exploded. I feel like, you know, if you fall in Star Wars, if you seemingly fall to your death, it's like a sign that, you know, most of the time you're going to live.
Yeah,
really. There's the one exception
no body,
there,
no death.
My conspiracy theory is that Saw rescued him and is like, I'm making up for that.
The partisan U-wing just came down, picked him up, they left.
They made it seem real final at this panel.
It would be awesome if he came back.
The Bad Batch Twitter was just going insane over that panel. And they kept saying that, like, they never said, like, Tech's death. Tech died. They said Tech's sacrifice. Like, they kept saying it in a certain way to where it's like, oh, they could do something.
Maybe it's like Echo and the sacrifice meant him, like, losing a couple of limbs or something, maybe.
Yeah.
That would hope, you know, I'd take that over at Tech just being, like, totally gone, because like I mean I was completely moved by that sacrifice. It was like it really got me way more than I thought, but I would also be happy if he came back because, you know, I just love the character after season 2. Brilliant.
But I'm just this race stuff. I mean, the movies, like, again,
I feel like we're glossing over the fact that we're getting Star Wars back in theaters.
I know, it's crazy. Like,
and we're getting the title crawl as well.
And like it's the Rey one is like, okay, that's awesome, and obviously that's the one I'm most anticipated for. But like I never would have even thought that this Dawn of the Jedi James Mangold thing would be a thing that they would do.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're doing it is so exciting. That one, to me, honestly, sounds like it will be really, really cool and get to do some new cool things with the Force.
I love that the logo is the same logo in the Last Jedi.
I
exactly
love
that.
that
Jedi
connectedness. It's great.
They're really going to be calling back there. I've got like a
Daisy Ridley,
graphic novel. Oh, so good. I'm so happy to see more of her. Like
she looked so happy too, and she got a huge reception. I'm like, oh man, I wish I was there so bad. The one, because I was there for Orlando and Chicago, and I've told this story before. I don't know if I told this story to you, Don, but what I was going to like a fan panel at this point because we didn't get into the Last Jedi panel. This is back in Orlando, and my friend, she went to it was a Woman of Star Wars panel, and there was like Vanessa Marshall, Tia Sakar, like Ashley X. I know that all the people. Midway through the panel, Daisy crashes it, comes out and like joins the panel for the rest of it.
Oh my god!
Could you imagine?
And she fucking comes back to me and tells me like Daisy Ridley was at my panel. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? And I missed it. And I'll just
wow.
So
I gotta watch that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I hope that's
I will be hanging my because I have a signed Rey picture, so I'll be hanging that soon. I was gonna wait till I moved, but
awesome.
I need it because I was crying. Just a side note for everyone, because I'm seeing a bunch of you. All of you people that rightfully were praising the return of Ahmed Best, I see you shitting on this Daisy Ridley news. I don't think you realize how this works. Like, you're being complete hypocrites. Like, you're not allowed to do this.
We're trying to break that cycle.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Why are you still doing it?
It's like you realize
let that
left,
version of
right?
hate die.
Exactly. Let's stop this, please.
With the announcements, like you have something in every era of Star Wars. So if you don't want Daisy, you don't have to watch it. Like there's two other great movies that'll be out.
I know.
I could not agree more.
But that the stuff that I mentioned of the people hating is honestly been like small, because even the people I know that aren't huge on the sequels were just had a like really, really excited and happy for Daisy.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm so excited.
First woman director of a Star Wars film. How exciting!
That is so exciting.
It's such an interesting choice as well. Like, you know, Shamina Chinoy, she's like, you know, she's known for like her documentary films that are all about highlighting, you know, inequality towards women, which is just like, what an amazing choice. What an fascinating choice to like helm this story that is that's going to like focus on Rey. You know, I presume that they will probably include some of the other sequel characters in there, but I really like that this is, because this is kind of what I wanted Rey's story to be after The Last Jedi, like her building the Jedi Order. And I feel like, I personally feel like Rise of Skywalker got a little bogged down in like the whole parentage mystery thing, which, you know, I feel like, you know, once you pulled the trigger on Rey Nobody, that was kind of a done deal, really. I mean, you could still make the Rey Palpatine thing work. I feel like, you know, the novels and the shows are like have really kind of like, you know, warmed me up to the idea since then. I mean, although I'm still a Rey Kenobi diehard, like, you know, I'm still gonna die on that hill, but I'm just really happy to see her back, and I just love the thought of like what kind of stories they can tell and just like the ideas they can explore. You know, like, I mean, I obviously want to keep an open mind about it, but I would just love if like they created a Padawan character for Rey to like mentor, because that would be so cool. Like, just have this new character, preferably a woman, because that would that's not a dynamic we've seen explored a lot in Star Wars, in the mainline stuff. You know, like,
I mean, go ahead.
Oh no, just like a maternal, you know, like a maternal or sisterhood kind of thing of like Padawan and Master stuff.
It's so rare, and it's like we always get the brotherhood. You know, we get that with so many Master Padawan, you know, relationships, and I think like this is a great opportunity to have it, you know, woman to woman.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm obviously hoping for Finn to show up. I know a lot of people are like Grogu. But
if he does not come back, it is because he doesn't want to, and I respect that. I fully respect that. But if he comes back, God, I would be so hyped.
I'm optimistic that he will come back, because I know him and Daisy are like tight, and
they're great friends.
I feel like now that Daisy's involved, I feel like he'll be like, well, you know what, I'll come back for that, because I you know, if it's a new Jedi Order thing, you know, maybe Finn might want to get in on the Jedi action a little bit, you know.
And I feel like they don't need to. I mean, who knows? But I feel like the fact that they announced these, and they've been so hesitant to announce any movie projects in such a long time. Like, I feel like they are gung-ho on, like, these are going to happen.
Oh, no, absolutely.
So I don't think they need to worry about them being scrapped or anything.
I
but
feel like
I'm
they've
just
committed to it.
Yeah, I'm just
They
really
are,
looking
for sure.
forward to seeing these characters intertwine and interact with new characters, new Jedi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome, and hopefully they don't, like, they actually let the Jedi Order flourish and don't just immediately kill it like they did.
Yeah.
Grogu could show up as well. Like, Grogu
Yeah.
will be 91 by that point, so that'll be fascinating if they choose to do that. I mean,
But
Ahsoka possibly.
He has his movie.
Yeah, he's got his
He does,
movie.
he
He's got
does
some
have his
Mandoverse
movie. Exactly. I mean,
No, I
I'd also
Say
love
his
love, like,
first
Luke to
words
show
in that.
I'd also love Luke to make a brief appearance, because that would be cool. You know, I'll never say no to Mark Hamill, like, just continuing to be in Star Wars, you know, just like helping shepherd Rey through the new Jedi Order thing. That would just be really awesome. But I'm also excited for the Mandoverse thing. Like, I really enjoyed those shows, and it's a really, I love the idea that we're going to get like a bigger budget, like huge scale finale to like properly realize what I presume it's going to be a version of Heir to the Empire, or like the concluding chapter of that trilogy, because they seem to be, as we see in the Ahsoka trailer, they're really going
She literally
hard on
said
the,
it. Yeah, he said, Heir
when
to
she
the
said that, I got a
Empire.
chill.
He did say that he's working with Zahn on it. Like, he's a collaborator.
Yeah,
So
and I love that.
if they end up doing that, that's great. Once again, picked up a book that didn't finish, so I left off on Dark Force Rising. It would encourage me to finish the trilogy.
I haven't even touched the original Thrawn trilogy yet, but I own it. I own the books,
I like
and
the first one.
I'm fully intending to get to them.
I will definitely, like, it's on my essential reading list.
Yeah.
Now that we know that all of this is coming.
Yeah.
I just think it's exciting that we're seeing something like this that, like, we've only really seen done in the MCU, of having all these shows lead to this one climactic giant movie event. Like, that's going to be really cool. And a lot of people were like, oh, is it going to be Disney Plus? I'm like, no, I think you can bring people to the theater for The Mandalorian easily.
Thing.
No, I think
definitely
Filoni will be very committed to that.
Smart to do that, because they can continue making shows, and if it's successful, they can continue doing that. Like, they can tie in shows and have a big movie event.
And I'm very excited to see, like, Mandalorian with a movie budget. I think that's going to be awesome. And
no volume.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, go ahead. Go on the set. But jumping off what you said there, I think that's a really smart way that they did all of these movie announcements, because they just announced the one, but it's very easily a thing of, like, if they're successful and people really like them, you can very easily jump off and do more, because they're in, like, these new time periods, which I think is really cool.
Well, they're outgrowing the trilogy, because I feel like this is a thing that I kind of ran into with the sequel trilogy, is that, you know, if I feel like Star Wars has outgrown the trilogy model at this point, and I like that instead of like going, oh, we're doing a whole trilogy of films, it's more like, no, we're gonna spread out the movies across different eras, and if you like the one movie that tells a complete story, then we will continue that. We'll continue in that era with those characters. If you don't like it, well, here's something else. I just think it's a much more like organic and healthy method, if anything, for the series at this point. Now that it's gotten so huge and has so many different stratas of like fans,
and especially because, like, especially in regards to Rey's story and Finn and Poe, like, I feel like their stories didn't really conclude in the span of 3 movies. Like, you can go further if you wanted to, or you could have
gone for like so many other
because you have this definitely like unexplored timeline that hasn't been touched at all. So if we want to rewind a bit and talk about Andor briefly, because we can't just not talk about it if we have
You know what? The internet has failed me, because I got a potato cam of the Andor trailer, 40 seconds max. I know someone has the whole thing.
I have the full
What
thing.
are you doing?
I have the full thing.
Why have you not sent it to me?
I thought I did. I must have.
This is incredibly disrespectful.
I'm like that with
show.
I've only seen the first like minute of the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, and I haven't even tried looking for the Bad Batch one yet.
Skeleton Crew. I did see Acolyte.
No,
that looked fantastic.
I've seen a bit of the Acolyte. The Acolyte looks amazing. Like, I'm so excited, just like for all the cast, but particularly Carrie-Anne Moss. I love that she's a Jedi and she's going to do like martial arts, because like I'm a big fan of the Matrix. I just love seeing her in there as Trinity, and like the fact that she's going to get to be like a badass Jedi Master, that's just gonna be so awesome. Seems to be a lot of Jedi in this though as well. Like you know, Daphne Keane also said that she was playing a Jedi, and you know, I've also got to mention Amanda Stenberg's fantastic Padme cosplay.
They killed
it.
They brought
first
out
day. They're like, we're cosplaying.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Love
awesome. Just brilliant as well. It was just the cast looks amazing for that, and I'm really intrigued. And you know, that was even before like the later High Republic panel when Leslie Headland just like gate crashed that and was like, oh, by the way, Vernestra Rwoh is gonna be in this story, and she's played by my wife. And we were all like, what?
I just know that they're married.
I may have just sent you the trailer.
Oh, okay. I may watch it right now.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that's so cool that she was like, oh, my wife's in the show. Also, by the way, it's Vernestra. And I just think that's so cool that they're acknowledging the High Republic books. They're making it not just seem like, oh, it's just something in the era, but all that other stuff they worked on, it doesn't matter. And I also loved what she said during the High Republic panel of like how much respect she has for the publishing initiative and all the writers, because the Legends books were what inspired her fandom in the 90s. And I just think that's a really cool way of acknowledging that and continuing it on and having pretty much the closest thing this new generation has to those Legends stories with the High Republic stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think what's the best part about it is that the High Republic is the most like diverse and inclusive era of Star Wars. And we can finally get that on screen, and it's like this is already built into the stories. Like these are the characters now, and I think that's fantastic.
Oh, I completely agree with that. It
looks.
We have a Wookiee Jedi, like,
and it's Jonas,
and it's Jonas.
I know. I'm so happy for him. That dude is just like
but it's okay.
He's Burry is still alive. God damn it!
I don't know yet.
I'm still waiting for Bell to save him. And we also got like the Stories of Light and Life thing just briefly to talk about that High Republic panel. It's like that was so cool, and I'm really intrigued by the Phase 3 teasers. We only got a few titles, but I'm very excited to see where they're taking.
I love how they're having Charles Soule bookend it. Like he's writing the last adult novel, and after he wrote the first one. I just think that's a great way of doing it.
He's going to break some hearts for sure.
Probably.
He's absolutely.
Yeah.
That man is sick. Light of the Jedi, like you get attached to a character within the first like 4 pages and they're just dead.
Yeah.
There was one moment towards the end that like literally like just shocked me because of how casually it happened. And I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
It's just like there was a moment that just like that moment just made me like hate Marky and Rowe because I'd gone through the whole story of being like, oh, Marky and Rowe's actually quite cool as a villain. And then that moment happened. And I was like, this dude is a bastard.
Yeah. I know you're not going to be, because they described the first adult novel as like, oh yeah, it's like a victory lap for Marky and Rowe in the novel, in the Nile. And I'm like, oh, Don's not going to be happy reading this one. But
okay,
no, that
Andor trailer was fantastic.
Oh, the Andor trailer was so good.
I just wanted to see it, and oh my god.
I just love how they're using
so
the opening score again. It's just like, oh, it's so great. And like we literally just finished season 1, like 4 months ago at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I need more now. And the fact that like they're not done shooting yet, but they have like all of this ready to go is insane. Like the fact that I think they said the Acolyte wraps in like 2 months, but they already have 4 episodes completed. I'm just like, just give us the shows now. Just like, why are you waiting? Just give it to us now.
Well, the Acolyte is doing a similar production to Andor, right? They're not using the volume.
I don't know if they're using the volume.
Like a whole era or like a whole time period of just like.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's got the Andor episode count though. I think it's just 8 as opposed to 12.
Only Andor's got that 12, baby.
Yeah, Andor's got
Tony
that 12.
Gilroy locked that in. He said, "If you want me to sign on, I need 12 episodes."
Exactly, and I love that they're going to like cover a different year in each story. So you've got literally 5 years all packed into one season, and it's just really cool. I also
really
love that
like are they still going to release it weekly, or are they just going to release the 3 episodes? We would get less Andor in the long run, like it would be released to us quicker, but it's like it seems like those 3 episodes are going to tell like quite a bit of
complete story.
And then like the breaks in between will be like, it's a week for us, but it'll be a year,
I think they'll do the same thing as season 2 where they release the first self-contained arc.
Maybe.
They release
just
the first
so we kind of get a taste.
Yeah, exactly. Because that really worked for like getting everyone locked into the series because of like how much of a slow burn that opener was. To great effect, I must add. But also like just like based on what we've seen of the footage and like the filming and stuff, I really like that like we're gonna have like Cassian and Mon Mothma actually meet.
Yes.
That he's gonna he looks like he's gonna help her get off.
You
Coruscant,
saw those
like,
pics, right?
yeah,
Of
of
them
them
in
like
Spain?
of them like running like on what looked to be Coruscant, and because I've had that I did have a theory like that he was going to be involved, and they were going to overlap this with like what we later see of her escape in Rebels, which is like super cool. It's a good way to like organically integrate like the events of Andor with the events of the other shows and stuff.
Yeah,
and
especially since like the Rebels timeline is already tied into Andor, so it's like just keep doing that. Like Tony Gilroy is so aware of the events in Star Wars, even though this guy swears he's not like a diehard fan. It's like, okay, you know all the facts, so
exactly. No Easter eggs in Andor, is there, Andrew? Absolutely.
No, definitely not.
And no bricks and screws either.
And no bricks and screws.
No bricks, no screws, nothing. But we did get to see Adria Arjona in the flesh, and I'm just like, oh God, where's Bix?
The thing is,
where
like,
is my
that
girl?
picture of all of like Denise, Kyle, like Adria just looked so good in that picture, and they're just all like goofy, and she's just like serving a look. I'm like, you just look fantastic. I love
just like model perfect look, and like Denise Goff, and like.
And when I saw her at the premiere, she looks like that in person. She's just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I hope that she's not suffering in this season.
I hope not.
There
was a quick shot. There was a quick shot of her and Cassian about to. So who knows?
And Bell and Cinta. So
yeah, Vel looks different now too. She's got like dyed her hair.
Yeah, when she was answering those Andor questions, like around the time of the finale, she had that color hair. So they probably had already filmed that.
Wow. Interesting, yeah.
I'm so excited for that show.
I'm hoping they'll both pull through. That would be nice. If
but I also love, I love how Mon Mothma jumping off point is also going to be in Ahsoka. I thought that was such a cool reveal.
And you know, now that she's a senator again, she has that beautiful, like, fresh robes. She's not wearing just like that sheet that she wears in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, she was making do like in that, and I also love that she has the Andor hair as well. That she doesn't have the kind of like dark brunette look that she had in Star Wars, because that's such a good look for Mon Mothma. But it's gonna be so cool to like see her in like after all the like sheer emotional suffering that she went through in Andor. It's gonna be lovely to see her like more in a position of power. Because, like, you know, as we know from the novels, from like Bloodline and stuff, like Mon Mothma was actually she was quite good at running the New Republic for the most part, but she couldn't be everywhere, and that's like kind of the sad thing that Leia laments in that novel, because it's only briefly touched on, but like, you know, Mon Mothma was like a beacon of light, and she was like the exception that kind of helped run the New Republic, and then after she goes, that's when things start to kind of break down and get mired in like political squabbling, as we see in that novel. But I'm really excited to see her in that capacity,
because, you know, in Andor we see her like fighting so much in the Senate, and it has obviously like no effect, and so this will kind of be the opposite. Maybe like we'll see her as a senator, or is she's leading the New Republic? Is that what her position is?
I think she's the chancellor. She was the chancellor. Yeah.
So that'll be great to see her in like a higher position of power having effect.
Also, I love how they confirmed a little resistance love, because I got to bring it up to Jake. But Kaz's dad is one of the senators in that scene. I'm like, finally we get some representative, because we didn't get it in Bad Batch season 2 when there should have been.
I just thought of this, but I really hope that in Mando they touch on how like Coruscant is no longer like the center of like the Republic, and how it moves then to Hosnian Prime, like in that system. I hope we get that. I want to
see more. Yeah, I really want to see more of Hosnian Prime, because again, it's like Alderaan. You need to create an emotional attachment to that place, and Bloodline did that for me a little bit. But I would love to see like Hosnian Prime in the flesh and like actually see it developed.
Resistance did that a bit too, like in the season finale, like when you learn that Kaz's family is there. Like I love that the shows are tying in. And now there's like the movie, maybe that'll tie in something as well.
Fingers crossed. Yeah,
it'll probably make me hate the New Republic even more than I do watching Mando.
I love that they call them. What did Paz call him? Like Blue?
Yeah, something like that.
He's a cop.
I can't stand. I can't. Every time they're like, "Yeah, we can't help out," I'm like, "You I'm glad you got blown up. Like this is just, I don't...
That's literally me every time Jin is on not on Scarab, when she's on Yavin, like telling them to fight, and they're like, no. I'm like, just do it.
Just do it. Come on.
Just do it.
God damn it.
Yeah, I didn't check in on you. What's the Saw Gerrera mindset right now for you after
I still love it. Listen, anybody that's blaming Saw Gerrera for Tech's death, they blame everyone except Palpatine. Like it's those same people. So I'm over that already.
I had mixed feelings about it, but I absolutely blame the Empire for the record.
Yeah.
I was mad that he got in the way of like their plans, but I know that it's not his fault. It's like I said to Andrew when we covered it. It's like blaming Star-Lord for like everyone, half the universe dying when it's Thanos. Thanos did that.
Well, I only blame it because it's Chris Pratt.
I mean,
it's
not Star-Lord.
Chris Pratt didn't have the #1 song of the year in the Mario movie. That's for certain.
That's for certain. No, but
Mr. Black.
The thing is with Saw, the next time he's like touched, which I guess Tony Gilroy will probably write him a bit in Andor, which I liked the way he wrote him because he wasn't just a villain. He wasn't a plot device. He wasn't something needs to go wrong, so let's bring in Saw.
Yeah.
The next time someone writes Saw, it needs to just be a black writer. Like let's quit.
That would be a really good like move to bring in.
You know?
Yeah, I'd like to see that for sure. But I feel like this is a good point for us to like properly jump into the Ahsoka trailer.
Yes,
for sure.
Thrawn. Yeah.
Thrawn.
Lars Mikkelsen is back.
I
so
see, like
Galen Erso and Thrawn brothers.
Yeah.
It's canon,
it's brilliant. Like, those brothers are like so winning. I still think that Mads is in Andor season 2. I bet they're keeping him secret for sure because it just makes perfect sense.
Lucasfilm has him wrapped around their finger.
Yeah,
he's in.
I'd love to see him and Riz Ahmed just like turn up. Like we actually see him like send Bodhi off.
I'll cry.
It's so cool. That. Yeah. I love Bodhi.
I just want to say the reason why I'm even more confident that James Mangold's movie is going to be great is that Dial of Destiny looks fantastic.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah,
it looks so good.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge. God, I love her.
But back to the Ahsoka trailer. Again, I was not as hyped for the show going into the year because I was like, okay, you really took Rebels 2 away from us. You had to make it live action. But this trailer like cured my depression. I was like, Mary Elizabeth Winstead looks fantastic as Hera.
Oh, she's so good.
Sabine looks great. Long-haired Sabine is amazing.
Sabine, did you see the full trailer?
Yeah, with Ezra's saber.
Yeah. So Sabine with Ezra's saber again.
So cool.
I saw the full trailer. I saw Thrawn, and I saw the shot of her like looking at Ezra on the mural.
In the little,
Which it just...
and we got like the little tiny look at Ezra at Yeah, like
shout out to everyone that got to take a picture by that Rebels mural because that looked so cool.
That's so jealous.
That's awesome.
Like, this is the most beautiful thing ever. Do this every celebration.
Fantastic,
every celebration, just do it.
But I totally agree with you, Andrew, about like the trailer. It was just so. I mean, I was more receptive to Ahsoka. I was kind of more excited for it, I suppose, in general. But this just like sent the hype into the stratosphere because like it has such a different feel already from like the Mandalorian, which I was worried it would feel a little too similar. But I just love that it feels so different, and you've got this kind of epic war feel to it. Like you've got, it's so cool seeing Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera. Partly because of just the hilarity that now Hera is technically married to Obi-Wan, and that's just like really amusing to me. But also just like, seeing Lars as Thrawn, even if it's just the back of his head in the official trailer, I knew it was him. I made my family laugh when I watched the trailer. I was like, I'm pretty sure I recognize those ears. That's Lars Mikkelsen. Exactly. And then when he came out, and I was like, I knew it. I knew that was him. But I like Lars Mikkelsen's performance made me a Thrawn fan. Like I kind of was like, I kind of skipped the character for the most part for years, even though I'd heard of him. And then I watched him on Rebels, and I heard Lars Mikkelsen's like amazing performance with his voice. Like
his voice,
he has a very distinctive voice.
Oh my God, that's very good.
Oh, thank you, Mo. I appreciate that. It's almost hypnotic, really. But I just, I was willing to entertain other like castings. I wasn't gonna like say, oh no one should play Thrawn. But like in the back of my mind, I was like, it's got to be Lars, surely. And the fact that he's getting to bring this character, his take on the character into live action, and he's gonna basically be the big bad of this whole era. It's I could not wish for anything more in terms of like this setting up this era and like the good and the forces of good and bad as well. There's also those new villains, Balon's Skull.
I'm obsessed with them. Shin is my girl.
Shin looks awesome.
Yeah, played by a Ukrainian actress whose name I forget though, which is just they both look really interesting. Yeah, the Padawan braid. Yeah, I heard some reports that they apparently both fled into the unknown regions after Order 66, which makes me think that like, and Dave Filoni has said that the orangey red lightsabers are significant. That like that's deliberate detail.
Yeah,
which
said,
makes
no, that's the color.
Oh. Yes, that makes me think
Peter.
that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, adorable.
Making an appearance.
He's adorable. Yeah. But I think this is this is his take on the Dark Jedi concept that was used in the expanded universe, where they're not fully Sith, but they aren't like with the light either. They're like, it's a corrupted form of the Jedi practices, and like that, I feel like that would be an interesting route for Dave Filoni to explore. I feel like, you know, he's pulling a lot from the EU here. There's actually an interesting, like, there's an article in Screen Rant that made an interesting connection that actually Balon's name at least is derived from a Norse legend about two wolves that pursue the sun and the moon to eat it.
Okay, Dave. Okay, Dave.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's absolutely the influence. It's Dave Filoni and wolves. Come on.
Yeah.
But that gives me the sense that they're after Ahsoka. They are pursuing Ahsoka, and I've seen some like people suggest that it's because she was supposed to die on Malachor against Vader, and she was saved because Ezra saved her.
Yeah.
That made her kind of like an anomaly in the Force, maybe, and then maybe that's why these two are seeking her out, because they view her as like a walking disturbance in the Force from their perspective, and maybe they're also after Ezra because of the same, because he's the one who touched the world between worlds.
I think it's interesting that they're touching on this like more of Force user, not fully like Sith, not fully Jedi, because like that's Ahsoka's character, you know, like she left the Order. She's not a Jedi, which even though they put Jedi in the trailer, it's like, wonder what that's about. But I like that it's like these just Force users are now like interested in Ahsoka, because I think that's what makes Ahsoka's story so compelling, is that she was a beloved character in Clone Wars, and she was, you know, our Jedi, and then she leaves, but she's still this character that we love and is so fascinating. So that's cool. I like that touch.
Yeah. But Don, your reaction, what was stronger, seeing Thrawn or seeing David Tennant officially confirmed to be Huyang?
David Tennant's legendary, dude. How many times is he in the Clone Wars? He's not in it a ton, right?
Just the one arc.
Just the one arc, yeah. So to answer your question, Andrew, so like I would watch this in my kitchen. I watched the trailer in my kitchen first, and I made, apparently, according to my father, I made a noise that sounded like an Irish pixie, an Irish gremlin when David Tennant, when I heard David Tennant's voice, because like even before they confirmed him, I was like, it's David Tennant, he's back. Yeah. And I was just like, because I wasn't sure, because there was rumors that they might recast, and I was like, there's no way, surely, because it's just, I love Huyang as a character, not just because of David Tennant's performance, although, you know, I'm a huge fan of David Tennant. He's one of my favorite actors. He made me such a big fan of Doctor Who, you know, like I was just the right age when that show like pivoted to him as the Doctor, and I just basically grew up with that. It was like a formative experience for me as a sci-fi fan, and I'm just so happy that he's back and he's involved and he gets to voice this droid again, because Huyang is like really cool and interesting, and he's got a load of untapped potential for me, like as this ancient droid that's been around for centuries. And I love that he survived all of the stuff with the Empire, and he gets such a, I love that he was the stinger as well at the end, like, oh, we've also got David Tennant here as a droid. Yeah. And I feel like his line is very significant, because to pick up on what you said, Mo, about the Jedi handle and what Ahsoka says, because she repeats the line that she says to Din in season 2 of Mando, like, oh, the Jedi fell a long time ago, there's not many of us left. And Huyang, they kind of frame Huyang's line as the answer to that, like perhaps it's time to begin again. And I almost wonder if this is Ahsoka's arc for this series, if this is about her kind of regaining, like, well, kind of going through a similar thing as Obi-Wan and Luke did before her, where like she's become very jaded and skeptical of the Jedi ways, because in the wake of encountering Vader and just seeing how much the dark side consumed Anakin. And I feel like this series is going to show her like refinding her connection to the light, like restoring her faith in the potential of the Jedi and how they can learn from their mistakes and grow beyond like the outdated ideals that like held them back and let them be corrupted and destroyed by Palpatine.
Because you think of Ahsoka as a character, her relationship with the Jedi is like very complicated and traumatic even. Like she gets kicked out of the council for something she didn't do, is welcomed back, turns it down, lives through Order 66. Like it's a lot of like turmoil and complexity. And I think wrapping that up in a show where like she can come to terms with that fully, I think is interesting. So I would love to see it.
Yeah, especially if Hayden Christensen makes an appearance, which
He's
supposed to be. We didn't get anything. I was like wondering, it's like, are they going to have Ewan or Hayden come on stage and be like, "Hey, we're in this too"?
They were.
But
I mean, they were
there. They were there.
Maybe after the show is out at the next celebration, they might do it.
My favorite thing now is just Ewan McGregor at Star Wars Celebration because it seems like he has the time of his life.
His scream yesterday.
Yeah.
He did a Wilhelm scream. I loved it. It was brilliant. Like,
okay, that's my next question I got to ask you, Don, is because Kathleen Kennedy pretty much said that right now they're not working on Obi-Wan season 2. And that was like your big thing. It's like, oh, are we gonna get it? Ewan still seems like he wants to do it more than anyone in the world. So I gotta.
He's like, I'm coming to every celebration, whether I'm back or not.
He's like, I think he's gonna be in something. I just don't know what it's gonna be yet.
Well,
but you can't just have someone as huge as Ewan and just be like, now we're not gonna.
Oh no, there's no way they're not going to take advantage of the fact that Ewan is like his like love and fandom for Star Wars has been absolutely reignited.
I think he even said like, "Oh yeah, the Star Wars part of my life is back now, and it feels so great." And I'm like, I love you so much.
So that makes me think he's probably going to have an appearance in the Ahsoka show, maybe because like I just could so see Dave Filoni just having at least one flashback with Ahsoka and then Hayden and Ewan in their Clone Wars armor, just to like, because I feel like he's done such a good job of replicating all the animated stuff that I could see him doing that. But there's also the new Jedi Order film, because like we established that Rey was able to hear the voices of Jedi's past. So like you could argue an extension of that would be if she was able to like commune with them. Like, you know, I mean, my vision for that would be like she just sort of like sits down on a thing, meditates like Cal Kestis in Fallen Order, and she just sort of like goes to a different plane, and then there's all these Jedi Masters around, like a council that she can commune with. And it's like I would love that. Like just her communing with like Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Luke, just for advice. That would just be amazing.
So good, but then how's Obi-Wan gonna be there? Is it gonna be Alec Guinness? Because Alec Guinness's Force Ghost Obi, so maybe she'll hear him, because she has heard him before on multiple occasions.
Has heard him. She's heard both of them, which is interesting. I mean, maybe put
That's
like
so funny. She has heard both Ewan and Alec.
She's like, which one are you, and which one is this one?
Which one are you?
But I've said before that when we get Hayden Christensen saying "Hey Snips" in live action,
it's gonna break me
for that.
It's
gonna break me.
When he said it at Celebration, right? It wasn't it last year that him and Ashley X signed?
Yeah.
That was great. God. So, and that's not even on our screens as the characters. That's just them.
Exactly. Like, just to answer what you said about Obi-Wan, Andrew. So, like, yeah, I was like, a tiny bit of me was disappointed, but then I was just sort of like, well, you know what? We've got so much amazing stuff coming down the pipe that it weirdly just kind of hit, like, it really cushioned the idea that they're not working on it at the moment. But the fact that Kathleen Kennedy wasn't opposed to it and kind of hinted that they are interested in doing it down the line, that kind of makes me think that we will see a season 2 of sorts. Maybe they will do it as like a mini series again, or maybe even blow it up to a movie, given that they want to like tell self-contained stories in different eras. Like, you know, if it's me personally, I'd take some influence from Yoda's arc in the Clone Wars and like have Qui-Gon send Obi-Wan off to like some ancient Force world to get ancient knowledge. You know, maybe he brings Reaver along with him, and you know they fall afoul of the Inquisitors. That's I feel like that's a possibility. Yeah,
I want to see either that optimistic. Or something with the Path.
The Path. Yes.
If we can't get Tala back,
literally bring her back, because Indira Varma is just. I love her.
I also love Vivian Lyra Blair just like roasting
him.
Vivian Lyra Blair, she's so adorable.
Carrie Fisher, and And it makes me very emotional, so we can't talk about it for too long.
No.
Like when I was watching her interviewed, it's just like the whole time I was like, oh, she is the sweetest thing, because like just the way she was talking about like the experience, and it's so heartwarming to see like just how much of a good experience she's had with Star Wars, because Star Wars is the fandom has notoriously not treated kids in the series very well, and just the fact that to see that she had such a welcoming experience and was treated so had such a lovely time at conventions and stuff, meeting people. It was such a heartwarming thing to see. And
she's so articulate. Like she's so smart. It's just
I know
it's crazy
it's
to me.
amazing.
I'm like, I was a dumbass kid. Like I would not be able to say these things at that age.
I know, but like that's the thing, isn't it? Like it's the other thing. Like she's so articulate, and she's able to talk about like the filmmaking process, and it's amazing. It's such a lovely thing. So yeah, I'd love to see more of her as Leia. Like do a young Leia series. Like I
would love
lean into that. More. I'll always say yes to more Leia for sure.
Yeah, but yes, I love what Kathleen Kennedy said about Kenobi is that like it's not a no, it's not in production, that's for sure, but it's like it's more of like if it happens organically, if the story works, of course we'll do it. Like I think she's great as president. Like she knows when to call it, when to make the right decisions, as long as like Disney, obviously the corporation may get involved sometimes because they're like, hey, you got to bring in money. But I think under the terms that she's in, like I think she does what she can. It's great.
It's my favorite thing about Kathleen Kennedy is like every time people start up the rumor mill of like, oh well, she's running Lucasfilm into the ground, or they're gonna fire her. Like almost all the time, that's always followed by her making an announcement, like her making these announcements and showing how good her instincts are for like what the fandom want out of Star Wars, and like how to push the story forward in interesting ways that isn't just built on fan service and just like balancing that.
Those people forget that like one, George Lucas selected her, so he obviously trusted her with the franchise, and like she's been doing this for years. Like she's been an executive producer in some of the best movies. Like
she's a pro.
Like come on, be
she's
serious.
Been in the game like for several decades, and like she's obviously skilled at her job. It's just why are they doing anything new? And then when they do something new, you're like, I don't want to watch this. It's like, all right, then which one is it? Like
it's like Freddie Prinze Jr.'s, like he said on that in that interview. This is George Lucas's choice, not mine. So go fuck yourself if you disagree.
For real.
Yeah. But I think we can transition from Ahsoka to everything else that we got. So Bad Batch, Jedi Survivor. I mean, there were the Visions.
Okay, let's do Acolyte. Oh my god.
Let's do Acolyte.
One thing I have to say about Visions is that I forget the studio that's the Chilean studio, but shout out Latin America. Shout out mi gente Latino. Like that's gonna be fantastic. That's all.
It looks so good. Like the Visions.
That trailer looked so cool.
Fantastic.
Let me look up which one.
I can't believe we're getting an Aardman Star Wars mashup, and it just looks exactly like
Punk
what
Robot
I imagined.
is the Chilean one. So they're doing In the Stars is the name of the short that they're doing. I love that they're all dropping on the same day. That's going to be my May the 4th gift because I took off work. So there we go. Because I know I'm going to have to talk about it in here, but it looks so great. But let's talk about the Acolyte. We mentioned Vernestra already. And we mentioned
live action light whip. Live
how
action
cool it
light
is
whip.
to see the High Republic on screen. Yes, it just seeing the yellow and gold, the gold and white robes. Oh my god, it looks great.
Like this and Andor have always been my most anticipated shows.
Yeah, same.
Every time. It's so funny because my friend says this all the time, but literally every time Leslie Headland opens her mouth, I'm more excited. Like, she speaks about the show, and I'm like, just
she has such a passion. Yeah, and like I
passion. She's such a fan, and you know that she cares. Like it's when they care deeply about the franchise and like the story that they're telling, it's so beautiful. And it's just give it to me already, please.
Exactly.
Also, like cast is just.
Cast. The hottest cast. This and Andor, hottest cast we have.
I mean, I mean, Amanda Stenberg, we talked about her, obviously, but what a star. What a star.
Yeah.
Cannot wait.
Lee Jung-jae as the oh my god,
That's you know what? Shout out his interpreter at the live stage on Celebration, because you know, I feel like that should be like a learning experience. Like we should be able to always have interpreters when we need them, and then like have subtitles on there. But
absolutely.
They did
fantastic. Yeah, it's something I feel very strongly about. Yeah,
I'm
for
so
sure.
excited. I adored Squid Game, so
Squid Game was awesome.
It's gonna be great.
And he's a Manny Jacinto being like, "We're doing Star Wars,"
and man. He does Manny does all his stunts. Like I'm so excited to see him.
I hope his character is just Jason from The Good Place.
Yes,
but,
I do. Just like a himbo that can beat ass and
oh my god, that sounds amazing.
Saber, but if he twirls a saber or a staff, that'll be fantastic.
Well, it sounds like they all are playing Jedi. Okay, like those three. Like my favorite like bit of the interviews was like the little interplay between Daphne Keane and the I can't remember the actor from Russian Doll's name.
Charlie
Barnett.
I think
Charlie Barnett. Yeah.
Barnett, yes.
But Charlie Burnett, yeah, like that. The whole interaction was just so funny. Like how he just said, "Oh yeah, Daphne broke a stunt saber." She's like, "Actually, it was 3. It was 3."
I love that. She's like, "Well, if you're gonna tell him, it was 3, okay?"
It's just I mean, Daphne Keane, brilliant actress as well. Yeah. Like
I've only seen her in Logan, but
yeah, that's the only thing I've seen her in. But she
also did
so cool.
She also did the show His Dark Materials, and she was very good in that. Which also starred briefly. Bella Ramsey from The Last of Us and Game of Thrones. Them. Yeah, but like I'm really excited to see like this cast, like because it's a really varied cast of like really brilliant actors, both experienced and up and comers, and you've got this really interesting premise of like Darksiders infiltrating the Jedi and exploring the like degradation of like this golden era of the Jedi Order, from like how it went from that to the more compromised version we see in the prequels, which is just a really cool idea to explore.
Exactly.
For sure.
And I love that we're getting like a mystery thriller like in Star Wars.
Yes. I love that it's bridging together an era that is told in publishing and an era that is like what most people will relate to Star Wars. Like, this is like episode 1. Like, come on, dude. Like we're seeing how the Jedi have gotten to that place, and that story is just going to be one for the books, dude.
I'm begging Charles Soule not to kill off the Blade of Bardota so that Porter Rangel can
I understood that reference. I've read that book.
Oh, it's so good. It's probably my favorite thing from Phase 2. Porter Rangel, he's climbed up my list of favorite High Republic characters. He's just awesome. I love him.
He is.
And I'd love to see him like make an appearance. I had like my fan cast for him was weirdly Nick Offerman. Mainly because I could see Nick Offerman. I could see Nick Offerman as like this real
Jedi you have.
I broke the lightsaber. It burned my hand, so I punched it.
Again, like this cat. Also, Carrie Ann Moss in Star Wars. Like, come on now. Like,
what a W, dude.
Like, come on now. Like this show is gonna rule. This
show's gonna absolutely like just crush it for sure.
It looks so good. Like again, I only saw about 40 seconds of that shaky cam convention footage. But
Leslie, please give me a Vector in live action. Come on. Please. I love that.
You're telling me you aired it twice and no one got the full trailer?
Someone's lying. Now. Someone has the trailer and they don't want to
Someone's like,
precious.
It's my trailer, precious. I shall hang on to it. I shall hang on to it, precious.
But yeah, no, I'm so over the moon for this show, and the fact that it's coming in 2024 is
gonna
just
be a year.
It's gonna be a year as well. Andor, Acolyte, final season of Bad Batch, and that's just what we know so far. Like it's gonna be
the Bad Batch.
The Bad Batch. Mo, I know you have to leave fairly soon, so if there's anything else that you want to talk about real quick that we can transition to before you have to dip, we can touch on that now.
I feel like my brain is just mush right now. Like
you got the celebration.
Another feeling.
So much happened.
We're all just dead, and we weren't even there. Like, and we didn't even have to see how crowded it was or anything like that. I'm just
Starts putting out news. I can't.
Yeah,
remember
I mean, we had
anything
Skeleton Crew, which again, I know you
that
said you
looks
didn't see the
interesting.
footage. It does look
I
interesting.
didn't see the footage, but I feel like that one kind of came out of left field for me. Like hearing the synopsis of it, I was like, oh, this sounds fun.
That's still this
Okay.
year, and like we haven't haven't seen that much.
Yeah,
I think it'll be like end of the year, maybe like
probably
November, December.
And then we know that Jude Law is force sensitive now, and then we also know that Carrie Condon, who was in Banshees of Inisherin, is in this series, and she was tremendous in that movie. So I think that's such a win for Star Wars. Yeah, I forgot also, that's Friday too.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
And
also Vane apparently makes an appearance in the trailer. So we theorized about him showing up. A vast Mandalorian.
He can go. But then we had Bad Batch.
Wait, does Skeleton Crew take place before Mando?
It's during. We don't know. We know it's in this Mandoverse timeline. I don't think they've said.
I absolutely love Gorian Shard. I'm obsessed with that little pirate guy, and I would love to see him in Skeleton Crew. I feel like he'd be
that
really
would be
good
amazing
antagonist.
if it's before season 3.
Yeah,
have him be the main villain.
Apparently,
so cool.
2 years are taking place between season 2 and 3, so it could happen in between there.
There you go. But no, I've talked about how I'm championing the show and the list of directors they have. It looks like the Daniels.
Oh my God.
Of course, we've got Bryce, so we know there's going to be at least one peak episode in this show.
I have been obsessed with everything everywhere. I've been obsessed with everything everywhere all at once, like since it came out, and I just love the thought of the Daniels getting to play with Star Wars and that aesthetic. It's just that episode is going to rule.
And then I just love, first of all, coming of age adventure in Star Wars, right up my alley. Number 2, one of the kids is apparently Max Rebo's species, so that is enough right there.
Are we gonna see how they walk?
That's what I saw in the trailer.
Oh my God,
it's a little blue elephant guy.
Are we gonna see how they like move along and stuff?
I hope so.
We as a fandom need to get ready to defend that little guy and just just demand that he's safe. Yeah,
I mean, we can talk about Nubs capitalism all you want, but like it's when Skeleton Crew comes out, it's like we gotta take you.
Nubs.
Oh, that looks so. It show looks so
adorable.
Cute. It show looks so adorable.
May 4th too, so
May 4th. Yep. I will be waking up, watching Star Wars, and going to sleep. That is. That sounds like.
Before I go,
day is going to be.
If we don't get the making of Andor season 1 on May 4th, I will riot. I will fly to San Francisco and I'm going to riot at Lucasfilm.
Did Tony Gilroy just say no? Get those cameras out of my face.
Like, you can't tell me that you have footage already for season 2 nicely boxed in a little trailer for Celebration and you don't have the making of season 1 ready. Like, you did a panel on it.
Exactly.
You had slides up. I know you got it. So just tell me you're going to release it so that I can act accordingly, right?
What was your reaction to seeing Diego Luna again?
I cried.
Yeah.
Every time Diego Luna comes on my screen, I just adore the guy.
Didn't you say you met him at the Andor premiere?
I did meet him at the Andor premiere.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
The thing is, like, you know how like people are like they love representation and seeing themselves in characters. Like Cassian Andor, Diego Luna is literally a light-skinned Mexican. Like he's literally me. So every time I see him, it's just like the best day of my life. And I did meet him at the Andor premiere, and we talked a bit in Spanish, and it was great.
That's
I love that. He signed my Andor poster, and it's on my wall.
Oh, he did. That's amazing. That's so good. Oh, yeah. He's such a nice guy. Like the only thing I'll say is that I just want him to meet Jabba. He needs to touch Jabba's skin.
I feel like we've clowned that joke so much that he's like, it's fine, guys. I don't have to. But it's like, no, let him do it. It doesn't even need to be on screen. Just let him go into the archives of Lucasfilm and touch Jabba.
I also just love that Andy Serkis was there. Like like they recognized how big the prison arc was for season 1.
I feel like watching the live stream of it, like there was so much crowd reaction, obviously to Hayden because give the man his flowers, to Ewan. But I feel like the next that got all the hype was Andor. Like Diego Luna and Tony Gilroy, when they came out, like it was hype as hell. Like I wanted to be in that room so bad.
I think they made a really good choice starting off the studio showcase with Andor, because it's like, all right, we're gonna go with
Yeah.
what we know is going to get a huge reaction. And I just, again, that Friday, like, that was like, I can't think of the last time I was happier as a Star Wars fan.
Listen, I woke up late and I was just bombarded with Star Wars news. I was like, what is happening?
It's like, what is going on? Daisy Ridley,
like,
what?
What's happening? What's going on?
But yeah, I know you have to go, so
Yeah,
we're gonna have to say goodbye to Mo fairly early before we wrap up ourselves. But thank you for coming back on again. It's been a minute, so hopefully we can have you on more in the future. Where can everyone find you before you have to leave?
You know, I'm gonna be on for the Saw Gerrera arc for
Clone Wars. Oh, 100%.
Absolutely. You know, that's my guy. And Stila, my beloved, gone too soon. But
too soon.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be on here for that for sure whenever that happens for you guys. And you can find me on Twitter at JinMyStardust.
All right, perfect. It was lovely talking to you again.
Lovely talking to you, Mo.
Yeah, get some rest. We're all drained.
I'm having an early night tonight. I'm I'm tired. 5 a.m. most days. We can't.
No, that's no, we cannot. All right, we'll see ya.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so it was great having Mo back on again, but we still have some more stuff we need to talk about.
Just a few things, yeah.
Yeah, just a few things. So Bad Batch Season 3. We know it's going to be the last one, which hurts. I still have not had like the chance to go back and watch the full panel or even look at many of the notes. But I do know some of the stuff that they teased for the third season. First of all, some scenes with Crosshair and Omega, which was one of the things that I said during our season 2 finale that I am really looking forward to, is getting to see the two of them work off of each other a lot in this season. Considering that season 1 was mainly like Omega with Hunter and Wrecker, and then season 2 we had a lot of Echo and Tech scenes. So now Crosshair is going to get that in the third season. Really building towards Tantus being a big location in the season, and how much the Batch are desperate to find her, which again I think is a great choice for their journey, and the fact that it's going to be the last season. I mean, it's got to be huge, right? And I like that they said 2024, so we don't have to wait that long. Yeah. But I'm still gonna.
I feel like it should be early 2024, most likely.
So.
I would hope so, yeah, for sure. As long as I mean, it'd be great if it didn't overlap with another show, because I've loved having it on in addition to Mando. But like, yeah, it is a shame that it was getting somewhat having to compete for oxygen and air with like the Mando episodes. Although I think it did a very good job with that batch of episodes that ran with Mando.
It did.
But
yes, it did.
I'm excited to see where this is going. I feel like we're definitely going to see more of the Zillo Beast for sure. We know from the trailers that we're going to see Fennec Shand again. So
Fennec's back. Palpatine's back.
Palpatine's back. Wolf is finally making an appearance. We're finally going to see. We're finally going to see the trio complete, which is both awesome and a little concerning, given where they end up in Rebels. But yeah, there's lots of exciting possibilities for where this is going. I presume, based on what we're hearing of the footage, that we will see Omega Tantis for a reasonable amount of time. Like I presume she'll be there just for a bit, not all of the season, but for maybe, if not half of it, then a quarter maybe, and maybe the Batch like get her out fairly early on, and then the rest of it is them trying to get away from the Empire's influence. Given how integral she has become to their plans and Dr. Hemlock's plans. But there's it's a lot of potential. It's sad that this is the last season, which makes me a little concerned for both Wrecker and Hunter, given how we have now lost, and Crosshair as well, given how we have now lost Tech seemingly. Although there's plenty of room for him to show up again, but yeah, they also mentioned though that like this is the last. This is the last. This will close out this chapter of the story, and that makes me think that maybe they're going to do with the Bad Batch what they did with the Clone Wars, and they are in fact setting up another show to continue on from the Bad Batch. Like maybe because they've been setting up a clone resistance of sorts with Rex and Echo and also like all these other clones, which apparently Fireball is a Legends clone. I think they might have lifted him from Legends. Thank you, Alex from Star Wars Explained, for that one. But that would be an interesting way to pivot to it. I mean, I assumed that this was going to be like they were just going to fully get on board with the clone uprising in the 3rd season. But from the sounds of the trailer, it sounds like Hunter and Wrecker are kind of striking out on their own, which is like, God damn it, Hunter, why don't you want to work with Rex? Like Rex is cool. Like, why do you just want to keep being a loner, man?
Yeah, I mean, I assume, because we've been saying this clone resistance is going to happen for what, like 2 seasons now? So like it has to happen this season. Like,
exactly.
they have to do it. And I agree with you that there is definitely some jumping off points to where if you want to do a clone resistance, or if you want to do something focusing on maybe Ryo Chuchi or a character like that, you could definitely do that. I do like that they're pretty much saying that these animated shows aren't going anywhere. So we know we're going to get more after Bad Batch, which I really love. But I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. Nothing about Cody, as far as I'm aware, in this trailer or the footage that they showed.
Gives me hope that they're saving him for something Kenobi related.
I hope he's still back in a way, but we'll see there. And then I'm just, again, that twist of Emery Carr being a clone, I can't wait to see where they go with that. I think that's going to be really great. And then Hemlock being the main villain for a full season, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Well, the thing about Emery Carr that's interesting is just like her actress as well. Like I didn't realize that it had completely gone by me that the actress had not only been in episode 3 as like the Queen of Naboo, but she was also in Game of Thrones. She was one of the Sand Snakes. And, looking at her, I get the feeling that they have chosen her specifically to play Omega in live action going forward, because like she looks so much like an older version of there's a weird kind of similarity between her and Tamir Morrison, and also the just between her and like what you would imagine an older version of Omega to look like. So it would just be it makes me wonder if Omega is going to like be moved into the live action shows, and that's why Bad Batch is going to wrap up its 3rd season.
I mean, it's
wrap
very
up with
possible.
its 3rd season. Yeah, I could see it. I could see her like.
It would be really cool if, say, in like Mando season 4 or whatever the next project would be, leading into the Mandoverse film, if we do get to see Omega introduced and finally get the interaction with her and Boba Fett that I think a lot of people have been waiting for. Of hey,
that would be so cool.
Alpha
and Omega, come on, we got to see it. Exactly.
But again, I'm very excited for season 3, especially after the way season 2 ended. You needed to have something there, because I was a bit worried. I think some of us were, with just the way that the season was marketed, that there wasn't gonna be a season 3,
especially after what happened with Resistance, right?
Yeah,
because that just so suddenly just got said, "Oh, hey, it's the final season."
It's the last one, like 2 weeks before the season came out, and. Again, as I've stated, I was at that season 2 panel. There was no talk of it being the end, not even hinted at. So for it to happen like that, and the fact that we got this full panel for the Bad Batch season 2, and then to be like, okay, there's going to be some footage for like, okay, it's got to be season 3, and then they say it's coming back. So I'm very excited. What we also know is coming back is Tales of the Jedi, because that got kind of lost. I don't remember if it was announced during the Ahsoka or the Clone Wars 15th anniversary panel.
I think it was the 15th anniversary panel. That rings a bell, yeah, for sure. Which is just really interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Well, it's exciting because you can there's so many different like avenues you can speculate, because maybe they're gonna they'll expand the episode count to encompass more than just 2 Jedi, which would be like really interesting to do. I did post like a theory on Twitter that like I think I know what one of the stories is going to be, and that's going to be the first meeting between Ahsoka and Luke. Because like it just makes so much sense to have that be in animation, because you know like as much as I've kind of enjoyed seeing the technology with the de-aging technology that they've used for Luke in the live action shows, it is still quite limited, and there's only so much you can get from that kind of performance where you're modulating the voices and CGI in the face. So like if you're doing it in animation, you would get to have a more kind of like emotionally driven performance from Luke. And it would be I think, because Dave Filoni, there's a quote from him saying about how he has the story for how they met. He hasn't, and he said, I've not figured out the avenue through which to tell it, but I think you guys would like it. It's a good story. And that makes me think, well, if they're doing a season 2 of Tales of the Jedi, that's just the perfect way to show the meeting between Ahsoka and Luke. And hey, it's the perfect reason to get people to watch it. Like, oh, hey, do you want to know how Ahsoka and Luke met? Watch season 2 of Tales of the Jedi. Like, that would just be really cool.
Yeah.
Do you have like?
I don't know.
Other picks?
I think if they were to do some type of Dark Disciple adaptation and do Ventress and Quinlan, that would be really sweet. But again, I'm so glad that we have a season 2 because, as I mentioned when we did our recaps ages ago, when we had David on from the Star Wars Historian show, I brought up how I loved the concept of the series, but I felt like if it was just going to be these 6 episodes and just these 2 characters, it was a real big missed opportunity. So now that we're getting more, I am so excited to see all these potential ideas, and hopefully it's more than 6 this time. Hopefully we get a couple characters they focus on, or maybe this time it's not just 3 Ahsoka, 3 Dooku. It's like, there's 1 short per Jedi.
Yeah,
I would love.
Barriss Offee is right
Barriss
there.
is right there.
She's right there. Like,
I am shocked, absolutely shocked that we got nothing about Barriss in the Ahsoka panel.
There is that Inquisitor. We actually failed to mention the Inquisitor. I mean,
the one that people are thinking it's the 8th brother.
But we've seen the picture of that Inquisitor, and that Inquisitor has a female stunt double, which makes me think
if it's Barriss,
given that it could be Barriss, like it could be Barriss, that would be interesting.
The fact that we have Thrawn and then also the 2 new Dark Force users, I think I would be a little bit, and then we also have Morgan Elsbeth coming back too. I think I would be a bit worried that Barriss would get lost in that story.
Yeah. That's why I just don't think Luke is going to be in the Ahsoka show, and why it would make more sense to tell that.
Especially if you're going to have that big Hayden moment, don't put Luke in Ahsoka.
Well, there's the rumors, isn't there, that they're going to recreate the Malachor fight between Ahsoka and Vader, which, I was resistant to it at first, but honestly, it would slap if they do it right, and just to have Ahsoka squaring off against Vader again. Well, just to recreate that, because that fight was so incredible.
And then I gotta assume, because it's in the Mandoverse, we're gonna have at least some appearance from Din Djarin during the season. So probably during because they said that, I know the rumor was that there would be some time jumping that we've talked about. I don't know if they brought that up in the trailer or not, or during the panel or not.
That's where I think the Inquisitor factors into it, though, because my assumption when they said that there was going to be a time jump was that a chunk of the series would then be focusing on Ahsoka during the original trilogy, because we still don't know what she was doing during that period, like why she didn't reconnect with the Ghost Crew or the Rebellion or any of that, why she didn't meet up with Luke and Leia and Han. There has to be kind of an explanation for that, and I'm sure Dave Filoni has thought of it. So maybe this is what the part of the series will answer, what was she doing during that period? Because they did devote a big chunk of the Book of Boba Fett to answering what was he doing between Return of the Jedi and The Mandalorian? How did he get out of the Sarlacc and all that kind of stuff? So I think maybe that's where the Inquisitor duel could factor in. She's dueling the Inquisitor during the events of the original trilogy, or maybe even that's how Baylan Skoll and Shin factor into it, because they are pursuing her and she can't get involved with the rebels because she's too busy having to stay alive, getting away from them. I mean, her demeanor in Mando doesn't really kind of fit that, though. She seems kind of she doesn't seem antsy or she has to stay moving or anything, because she's just going out of her way to help people. So
yeah, I agree. As for other characters, I'd love to see if we are going in multiple different areas. I think it would be a really cool opportunity to have our first Old Republic story in season 2. Do something there. That would be really sweet. It doesn't need to be Revan. It can be any character. Just spitballing here. I mean, Rey and Finn were my big choice when we did our recap, but now that Daisy's back, I feel like they're definitely going to save that for New Jedi Order. So I'm gonna scratch that for now, but I can still say young Ben Solo. I can still say that.
Luke and young Ben Solo would be good, yeah.
Ayla Secura for my boy Connor. And then what if you can tell the Satine and Obi-Wan story and do a Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan thing, give me that.
Oh, Andrew, don't give me hope. Don't give me hope, man. Don't give me hope that we're gonna see that. I would eat that up for sure. That would be brilliant. Yeah, I like that. Actually makes a lot of sense. You do that as like an arc, and you know also what you said about young Ben Solo. That's a good arc for Luke. You've got like an episode of him meeting Ahsoka, maybe an episode that bridges that with it. Like you could have a 3-episode structure of Luke.
I got one more.
His Jedi Order.
One more.
Go on.
Jedi Leia. End of story. Get Shelby
Jedi
Young
Leia. Jedi Leia with Ghost Obi-Wan. Boom. Done.
Boom.
So much. I mean, there's so much potential.
Because we know
there.
that she's spoken to his Force Ghost. So there you go. So yeah, I've written Tales of the Jedi Season 2 for you right now, Dave. You don't even need to worry about it. We don't know when that's coming out. We just know it's confirmed. So that's probably going to be 2024, if I had to guess as well, because we're stacked this year.
We are stacked indeed.
Mando's got 2 more weeks, and then we have Young Jedi Adventures. I think starts. I don't know if all of them are coming out, but it start, and then Visions drops May 4th, and then a bit of a break, and then we have Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew. So we're still going to be very busy. We were like, oh yeah, we'll have a little bit of a break from like end of April to August. We can just focus on Clone Wars, but we'll at least have some more stuff to do in the background. I'm just trying to think of what else we can talk about. The publishing panel, I'm shocked we didn't get many book announcements. We a lot of it was focused. I know the Kira book got some talk. I know the From a Certain Point of View got some discussion, but a lot of them were just like those like compilation, like encyclopedia books. I know they're doing a Secrets of the Wookiees, which looks really fun.
I love
that's going to be one I can't wait to get.
I love that. Kristen Baver is also like writing a Sice Noodle story From a Certain Point of View, which is just I just love like mainly because I follow Tori Fox on Twitter and she's such a Sice Noodles fan, and like that tweet of her just like meeting Kristen Baver and learning about that is just it's heartwarming. It was so like that's one of the things I've taken away from this celebration. There was just so many heartwarming moments of people engaging with the fandom and being so moved by the love and support that the Star Wars fans were sending out to them. Like we've joked about how like aloof Tony Gilroy is often, like how he says he's not a fan, but even he was getting like moved by all the love and adulation like the Star Wars fans were showing, and it's like it's such a heartwarming thing because as we've said before, like this fandom, like the so-called fandom has been like known for like causing discord and like having ridiculous expectations and being incredibly unwelcoming to certain people, both in front of and behind the camera. And obviously those people, it's like Ewan said, they're not Star Wars fans. You're going to behave like that. You are not a Star Wars fan, but it's created such this negative image of the fandom and just the idea of it in general. And it's all I could understand if that can often be enough to like burn you out a little bit on the experience and just the experience of engaging and talking about Star Wars. And so, yeah, it's just such a lovely thing to see so many people just be moved by this and actually and get to experience firsthand that actually it's again, I'm going to quote again, there are more of us. It's like Zori Bliss says, they win by making you think you're alone, but there are more of us. There are so many people who are just willing to, who just want to engage with them, who want to engage with the material, and who have love and respect for the people involved with it. And it was a lovely thing to see. Hayden also got emotional, and also Leslie Headland, she said Star Wars saved my life, and like that just absolutely just touched me as like a fan, because it's just it just shows how much how passionate all these people are, and it's just lovely to see that get recognized.
Definitely.
I'm stopping for breath now.
Yeah, I was just real quickly looking at the cast for the Vision shorts because there was someone in the trailer that sounded like Florence Pugh, and I was like, "There's no fucking way!" Like I would have heard about this already. Someone would have tagged me.
Well, they had like an all-star cast.
Yeah, they had.
Sure,
I know Daveed Diggs is in one of them. So it's great to have him back. He had a role in Resistance season 2.
Oh,
he was like a Resistance spy character in a couple episodes. So I'm glad to have him back. Kind of like how Christopher Sean was in The Village Bride last season. But again, I'm so excited for that, man. Like it looks so good.
Like the Aardman one, I just love the Aardman one. And when they showed the picture, can I just say, when they had the picture and I spotted the little robot with that you put the coins in from Wallace and Gromit, A Grand Day Out, my mind exploded because I was like, oh my god, like we were wondering,
it's like, are they gonna have like space Gromit in there in the background?
It's just so good, yeah. Like just okay, if they have a droid Gromit just like knitting in the corner, that will complete my experience, and it will be it will be far and away my favorite of the thing, but of the series. But there is like so much good stuff here, like the Wolf Walkers, Wedge Antilles. Dennis Lawson is involved here. How cool is that? Like Ewan tempted him back into Star Wars and was just like, your Uncle Dennis, you've got to. I can't do Ewan's Scottish accent, but like I'm not even going to try. I don't want to insult him, but like he must have just like, just called his uncle and just said, oh, you got to come back. If I can come back and do Obi-Wan, surely you've got to like come and do some more stuff as Wedge, surely. There's also the Wolf Walkers. The Wolf Walkers, the episode by the Wolf Walkers team as well just looks amazing. The animation, like, it just looks breathtaking. There's just so much good stuff here, and I love that we, like, as we discussed before about like the fact that they've opened up the genres of animation here. You're really getting to see such a great vibrancy of like and variety of creativity and just like visual splendor that it's going to be a visual treat for the eyes when that series debuts.
I 100% agree with you. I'm very much looking forward to it, and it's going to be a great May the 4th gift, because I can't tell you how much I loved the first volume of Visions. So to get a second one, cannot wait. Good. And all the different styles, all the different, because I was a little adamant about it not just being anime studios this time, because I was like, oh man, I really wanted to see a continuation of some of those stories. But I've done a 180. It looks great. We're going to get so many different cultures represented. As Mo said, how excited she was for the Chilean studio. Like, it's going to be great. And I can't fucking wait for it. Speaking of things I can't wait for, we of course got our announcement of next celebration. And it's not what we were expecting.
Japan.
Yeah. So we knew it was going to be till 2025. Japan. Yeah, Tokyo. Cool. I think it's awesome for them. I think it's going to be so cool of an experience for everyone there. Because they've done one Tokyo celebration before, but I believe they did it. I'm just going to look it up to make sure, but I believe they did it the same year or like right after they did one in the States. So for it to be like the full on, yeah. So they did a Celebration Japan in 2008, which was right after they did one in Europe, and then the next one was in Orlando. So it's cool that they're going back after, what is that, like almost 15 years, 2025. It's going to be really sweet. I think it's going to be an amazing convention. I'm just bummed, man. Like, because I'm telling you, like, I'm going to try to go. I'm going to, because I told me, I'm like, no matter where it is, I'm going to go. This is what I said 3 days ago. I was talking to Jake. I was like, I don't fucking care where it is. I'm going. As long, and I think I said, and I quote, as long as it's not in Japan or something, I'm not going. And then what do they fucking announce? Because I woke up this morning And I saw someone's like, oh, hearing rumors that someone from Reed Pop says it's going to be New York City in 2025. I'm like, okay, cool. I was expecting Orlando because of, Disney Park synergy, but cool. Japan. Awesome. So now it's like, do I want to drop 2,000 on plane tickets? It's going to be a process. Because I selfishly, I will say that this is probably something I would have said off air, but I'm a little bummed because I have talked with everyone here about my goals and my goals I had in mind for the show going into next celebration. I was hoping that by 2025 we would be in a spot where we could eventually have a panel ourselves or could have some type of like press coverage. But I mean, Tokyo is tough. I mean, I think it's going to be, again, this is nothing against the people that are going to be able to experience this because
I'm so happy for everyone there. Experience. Yeah,
it's
like
gonna be
everyone
awesome.
there,
it's just
gonna
like
be amazing for them.
Ooh, it's like now I feel like you're starting to feel like how everyone else in the world feels. The one like they're always in the States, and then you get 2 in a row that aren't, and you're just like, oh my god. But it's gonna be tough for everyone now, which is why we're like, okay, they got to make streaming more accessible. This especially if it's in Japan. I don't think it's in Tokyo. I think it's in Japan. I don't think they've said where it is. But you got to make the streaming more accessible because the same issues we had with Celebration last year were on display this year.
Yeah, like a lot of the big panels, like the Ahsoka panel.
Streamed.
Yeah, like the studio showcase and the Ahsoka panel weren't streamed to people, which was a shame, really, because like they streamed the Obi-Wan panel and the Bad Batch panel and some others, and it's just a shame that they weren't consistent all the way through because, like, we were learning the stuff anyway, and as we've seen, like the images of like the extra shots we got, like Sabine with Ezra's lightsaber, Thrawn, the actual first look at Lars Mikkelsen as Thrawn, that all just winds up on the internet anyway. So it's
I thought that Thrawn was a fake. I thought it was a Photoshop of Elon Musk. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Do
not associate me with that man.
Please don't. No, you have every right to say that.
I think one last thing we're gonna say is about the movies as well, the kind of projects that Kathleen Kennedy talked about, because she went on to say in interviews while at Celebration what projects were in fact still on board, because like she said about the Obi-Wan show that they were open to maybe doing a season 2 down the line, but she also confirmed that she still wants to do Rogue Squadron. She said that also apparently the Lando show is still on. Like, we've heard next to nothing about that since 2020, but apparently they still want to do that, which I would love. Like, I feel like, you are sitting on like a really awesome show there. You've got Donald Glover, Billy D. Williams potentially could be involved. Yep. Like, you just got to do it. Like, I would just.
Glover said earlier in the week that he wants to do it. It's just he's still having the conversations. So yeah. I'm hyped. I hope we do get a more like a newly realized Rogue Squadron in some form. It would be a perfect opportunity to bring Poe back before the new Jedi Order stuff.
She said about doing it as a series, but I would very much doubt that if it gets made, it's as a series. I think the premise is very much built for film. Really, as cool as the dogfights have been in the live action shows, I feel like you'd want to have the full budget of a film to like.
I agree, and I think if they don't want to do it in theaters, then put it on Disney Plus. We were talking about it with the Mandoverse thing, but I think that would be a great thing to bring people to the service.
It'd be like Top Gun Maverick, though, wouldn't it?
I know, exactly.
Maverick cleaned out the box office. So, like, why wouldn't you want to do that, but a Star Wars movie? Like, Poe Dameron's pretty much like, he could be a Maverick figure, basically. Well, he is practically a Maverick figure.
I couldn't tell you why you wouldn't want to do that, but you
won't want to kill him off that way, for sure.
No. You definitely wouldn't want to kill him off in the first 10 minutes of The Force Awakens or anything like that. Thanks for that one. Thank you, Oscar, for changing that one. But
by being so awesome.
I know, really. They're like, oh, we can't kill this guy. And then boom, there you go. Use 2. It's Oscar frickin' Isaac. Didn't stop them from killing Max von Sydow in the first 2 minutes of the movie, but it's okay.
I just always love that, like, his character has become so retroactively important to the Star Wars timeline, and he's only in the movie for like 10
especially because of the High Republic, and they got the Santekas as like a huge
exactly.
family.
Like I read that in Light of the Jedi, and my thought was, this is so typically Star Wars that you can give so much like weight and importance to a character that literally got killed off at the start of the film.
I know.
It's a gift of the series.
Obi-Wan Kenobi died in the first Star Wars project ever, and he's still kicking to this day. Yeah. So
you love to see it.
It's the power of the franchise. My one last piece on Celebration 2025, while I am still grieving, is it'll all depend for me on how many of my friends are going. Because if I see a bunch of them are going to try to get tickets, I'm going to at least say fuck it and try. Whether or not I actually end up going or not, and if it's not like a repeat of Anaheim where I had tickets and had to sell them because I couldn't go, we'll see. But see, 2 years,
we're both kindred spirits in that regard. There,
exactly.
Dude, for
sure. Yeah.
Except I didn't sell tickets, but like, yeah, it's basically this. It's essentially the same.
I know. You had the golden opportunity and couldn't go, and then
God damn
boom.
It. Oh, but
see you in Japan. But no, this, I mean, I did hear some not so great stories, and this is something I do want to ask when we eventually have people that were at the convention on the show. I heard some not great stories about the way it was the convention was organized this year, specifically the fact that the convention center was not as big as you probably needed for a convention of this manner. A lot of crowding on the show floor is what I heard, but it just seemed like a wonderful time. And again, I've been to 2 celebrations before. The fact that it might be 7 years until between my second and my third one is very distressing, but it's okay. It's something I recommend every Star Wars fan does at least once in their life, is go to one of these, because even just taking the panels out of it, like the 2 I went to, I didn't get to go to that many, but the experience is great. And this was before I even had this access to this community in this way, where I have so many different friends in this community that I would potentially be able to meet, which was not an opportunity I had beforehand. It's a really cool thing. And I hope everyone gets to experience once in their life. And if not, they at least get to enjoy the news announcements like all of us, because again, Daisy freaking Ridley is back.
Daisy Ridley is back, and so is David Tennant, and that rules. Yep. Like my weekend was basically set after the studio showcase. I was like, I'm happy. They could do whatever they want. They could say they were giving Meba Gascon his own show. They could say they were giving Pong Krell his own show, and I'd be like, yeah, fine. I'm
bring Ron Perlman back as Garnett and just have him be in Skeleton Crew. We love, or he lives at the time of the Acolyte. Who knows?
Farting Trandoshan, a Star Wars story.
That's what we need in life.
It's like, and I'd be like, I'm set. I'm good. I've got
literally, like, if the entire thing was just that studio showcase panel, I would have been fine. I would have been like, okay, I got what I needed, because I was literally on a high as a fan that I haven't had in a while. The future of this world looks very, very bright. A lot of new stuff, which I'm just so excited for. And we finally have a clue of when we'll have Star Wars on the big screen again, because we know something's coming in 2025. We don't know which of the 3. I think it's safe to say it's not Filoni's. So it's probably going to be either Mangold's or the New Jedi Order, but probably
I think it'll be the latter,
because that's the most far along in production as far as we know.
And it's the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens, yeah.
Like, so
that's another reason sense. I'm so bummed that I more than likely won't be able to go to Celebration, is because it's the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens. It's the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, so you know it's going to be massive. And then the same release year of, presumably, this movie, which might be enough to get me to go anyways. But we'll see.
Well, and also she said, like Kathleen Kennedy, that like the script, she expects the script by Stephen Knight to be done like within like a few weeks, I think. So like that to me suggests that he really is just there
Can start production
to just punch it up a little bit, because it's mostly done, but they just need him to like streamline it and punch it up a little bit to their liking. So that to me suggests they're really gonna barrel ahead with it. And also Mangold's still got Dial of Destiny to market, like to have that come out, and he's got to let he's gonna need time to just sort of like get that out of his system before he then moves on to telling like a Dawn of the Jedi story, which like I just like, that's how impressive this slew of reveals has been for Celebration, that James Mangold doing a Dawn of the Jedi film almost feels like not as big of an announcement. And like that dude did Logan, and
that would take over like a whole weekend, incredible. But we're like, oh yeah, that's coming too. It's like,
like because he's also got the Swamp Thing film as well that he's working on for DC with James Gunn. So I feel like
that's probably coming next.
That's probably going to come next, since he's becoming increasingly in demand. So I think he does that, and then he moves on to the new Dawn of the Jedi stuff, which I'm so excited for. I feel like we didn't touch on that enough. Like I'm really excited for that, exploring kind of like that primal era of Star Wars and drawing on those comics from Legends, because I've got a graphic novel and I haven't I'm yet to read it, but I'm just so fascinated with that era and just like all the kind of like more kind of like, I mean, he described it as like a biblical epic, so that just sounds incredible. It's honestly what I thought Taika's film was going to wind up being, but Taika, he's still working on his film, and that makes his film just even more of an enigma now for me.
Yeah, I'm really wondering like how much they're going to pull from that Legends story, which again I have yet to read, but Jake always talks about how much he loves that story, so I'm excited for it a lot. And then again, Dave Filoni getting to finally get his live action directorial debut like for a film, and bring all these shows together. It's going to be really cool. And
I didn't even talk about Dave Filoni cracking up, like being emotional, like
during the Clone Wars.
Like I know it was such a beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing, like people. I know some people can be a bit harsh towards his directorial style sometimes, and his however present he is within the fandom. But like, I just every time I see him, it's just such a fascinating thing. It's just an amazing time to watch him talk about Star Wars and how much it so clearly means to him, and just how ably he has carried George's legacy forward, and so clearly taken the lessons that George imparted to him. Like, he is George's Padawan learner, like, and it's just lovely to see.
Yeah.
Also,
now he's finally got his moment.
Also, like, I've got to mention, like, during the interview with Rosario Dawson, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and Natasha Lou Bordizzo, when they were asked about Filoni, and they said, "Oh, that guy, he's so good, and he can turn every kind of conversation back to Star Wars." I felt so seen, because that's like my family watched that interview with me, and I believe like my mum or my brother, one of them turned to me and was like, "Oh, that reminds us of someone." And I was just like, "Oh
yeah,"
but also like it's just really cool.
Also, shout out to Caleb, who we had on the show about a month ago. Yes, who was doing a Dave Filoni cosplay for most of the convention. Also, a sick Krennic one today. Shout out to pretty much everyone on my timeline with the cosplays. You guys were amazing, and hope to
shout out to Alice from Sky Strikers for getting to meet Rosario Dawson. That's amazing, and I'm like super happy for you, Alice.
Also, shout out to whoever it was that cosplayed the Nexu that I saw on the
There was a Nexu? Holy
yeah, it looked sweet. And then someone did the Death Star pieces that they were building in the prison.
Okay, my favorite cosplay of Celebration was this lady who I think, I can't remember if she posed with Kristen Baver or Christina Ariel, but she had this dress that was literally a title crawl. It's just perfection.
Ooh.
It's just brilliant. I'll send you the link, but it's just...
Title crawl's coming back, too.
I'm so happy. That's the last thing I'm going to say. The title crawl's coming back. It's such an integral part of the Star Wars cinematic experience. And, like, I was really worried, like, going forward with other movies, like, are we not going to get that? Because that's... I've missed that. That is going to, like... That's always something I love, no matter what Star Wars film I'm watching, when the logo just comes in, the John Williams music blasts across the speakers, and we get the lovely text scrolling up. It's just it's perfection, and I will always love seeing it, and I love that we're going to just get more of that going forward.
I'm very hyped for it. But I think that we can, this will be a good point to wrap things up. We could keep going if we wanted to for another hour, because there was so much to talk about, but we've already said our piece. So again, thank you for Mo for coming on for the first half of the episode. It was great to see you again. Make sure you follow her on her social media. And then just if you haven't, we did every day we did a news recap for what you missed for Celebration. I've done, as of recording, I've done the first 3. I'm going to do day 4 probably as soon as we finish recording and get that out there. So check those out, because this is probably going out later in the week. And then obviously we'll have our Mando recap later in the week. And at some point within the next probably week, we will finally get you that Bad Batch Season 2 review, which will be a great time. So Don, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Donovan Mead, where I've tweeted a lot about Celebration this past weekend, for sure. A lot of David Tennant related posts and a lot of Rey related posts for sure. You can also find me on TikTok and Hive under the same handle at Donovan McComish. You can also find me on Instagram under at Donovan_McComish. And as for like the creative side, you can find me on along with Connor and Andrew on sweditorig.com. The site is going through some maintenance at the moment, so you won't be able to visit it for now. I believe it'll be back up soon, but to the long and short of it is we write articles related to Star Wars, and we also are involved in SW editor fiction, Star Wars editor fiction, SWEF. It's a series of short stories and web comics, basically our own fan fiction stories that connect together, are joined by like a unified continuity. We try to stay within the confines of what is considered canon in the Star Wars galaxy, but we also love to, like Lucasfilm are doing lately, lifting and repurposing elements from Legends. I've written one story that came out in June of last year. It's called Scars of War. It stars a clone trooper named Blister, who 5 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith encounters a Jedi survivor of Order 66.
All right, awesome. As for myself, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, at Starlight Andrew. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at For the Repub Pod, and on Instagram at For the Republic Pod, where you can check out further updates on when our content's coming out. Again, thank you for tuning in for all of our Celebration coverage over the weekend. Stay tuned to what we have coming soon. Our main series discussing the Clone Wars will be returning probably sometime after we can rest after Celebration and enjoy the last couple weeks of Mandalorian, and then we'll be right back on the saddle there. So again, happy Celebration, everyone. We'll see you in 2025, but we're not going anywhere. Until next time, may the Force be with you always.